welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am taking you through every single book that I read for all 50 prompts of the PopSugar Reading Challenge in 2022. I did it. I think I finished it about 2 days ago, but I did it. I finished every single book for every single prompt that I wanted to read. I've kept a copy of the entire list out the whole year and I've written down all of the books that I have read for every single one, so let's speed run through this as quickly as I can because there are 50 books that I need to get through. A book published in 2022, I read Again Rachel by Marion Keyes. A book set on a plane, train or cruise ship, I read One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. A book about or set in a non-patriarchal society, I read The Mercies by Kieran Millward Hargrave. A book with a tiger on the cover or tiger in the title, I read The Tiger Who Came to Tea by Judith Kerr. A sapphic book, I read Hani and Ishu's Guide to Fake Dating by Adiba Jagadar. A book by a Latin ex-author, I read Blame It on Bianca Del Rio by Bianca Del Rio. A book with an onomatopoeia in its title, I read The Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa. A book with a protagonist who uses a mobility aid, I read The Start of Something by Miranda Dickinson. One of the characters uses like a walking cane or crutches throughout the book. A book about a found family, I read Heartstopper Volume 3. An Anisfield Wolf Book Award winner which makes contributions to our understanding of racial issues, I read There by Tommy Orange. A book talk recommendation, I read Heartstopper Volume 2. A book about the afterlife, I read Vicky Angel by Jacqueline Wilson. A book set in the 1980s, I read Homestretch by Graham Norton. A book with cutlery on the cover or in the title, I read The No-Show by Beth O'Leary. A book by a Pacific Island author, I read Diet A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutanto, whose family are from Singapore. A book about witches, I read The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. A book becoming a TV series or movie in 2022, I read Heartstopper Volume 1. A romance novel by a BIPOC author, I read The Marriage Game by Sarah Desai. A book that takes place during your favourite season, I read Finlay Donovan is Killing It by El Casimano, which I believe takes place in October, which for me, as an Irish person, is autumn. A book whose title begins with the last letter of your previous read. The last book that I read for 2021 was Little Women by Louise May Alcott, so I took that energy and I brought an N into 2022 to read No X Before Marriage by Portia McIntosh. A book about a band or musical group, I read What Would the Spice Girls Do by Lauren Bravo. A book with a character on the A spectrum, I read The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. A book with a recipe in it, I read Name Drop by Ross Matthews. A book you can read in one sitting, I read This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay. A book about a secret, I read The Appeal by Janice Hallett. A book with a misleading title, I read Rachel's Holiday by Marion Keyes. A Hugo Award winner, I genuinely read Space Raptor Butt Invasion by Chuck Tingle. I had a great time. A book set during a holiday, Weather Girl by Rachel and Solomon. I believe that this has like New Year's Eve or Christmas or Hanukkah or one of those holidays in it. A different book by an author you read in 2021, I read On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. A book with the name of a board game in the title, I read Welcome to Your Life by Bethany Rutter. A book featuring a man-made disaster, I read Dear Mrs. Bird by A.J. Pierce. I had a lot of discussions about this with a couple of friends of mine, but I came to the conclusion that World War II is a man-made disaster. War as a whole, man-made disaster. A book with a quote from your favourite author on the cover or the Amazon page, I read Ashling in the City by Sarah Breen and Emer McLysaght, which has a blurb by Marion Keyes. A social horror book, I read The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. A book set in Victorian times, I read Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. A book with a constellation on the cover or in the title, I read Constellations by Sinead Gleeson. A book you know nothing about, I read Anybody Out There by Marion Keyes. A book about gender identity, I read Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly. One of the main characters, as well as the author themselves, are non-binary. A book featuring a party, I read Four Aunties and a Wedding by Jessie Q. Sutanto. This features a wedding. Is there any better party than a wedding? An Owen Voices SFF science fiction and fantasy book, I read Princess Ever After by Kay O'Neill. A book that fulfills your favourite prompt from a past PopSugar Reading Challenge, I read Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I took the prompt from 2021 of a character who works in your favourite or your dream job, and in this book both of these characters work in publishing. Then on to the advanced ones. A book with a reflected image on the cover or mirror in the title, I read Hang the Moon by Alexandria Bellefleur. A book that features 2 languages, I read A Ghost in the Throat by Deirdre Negrifa. If you can tell by the accent that I put on for the name, Deirdre Negrifa wrote in Irish and in English. A book with a palindromic title I read, as well as everybody else did, I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. 2 books in a duology, I read The All-American Girl duology by Meg Cabot. A book about someone leading a double life, I read Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade. A book featuring a parallel reality, I read Rivals, which is the third book of the American Royal series by Catherine McGee. A book with 2 points of view, I read The Right Swipe by Alicia Rye. 2 books set in Twin Sounds, aka Sister Cities. I read The Rebound by Catherine Walsh, which is set in Galway, and I read Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellfleur, which is set in Seattle. There you go. I wanted to read all 50 books of the PopSugar Reading Challenge. I read all 50 books of the PopSugar Reading Challenge. I think that is my entire year's Everest completed and climbed. Did you take part in the PopSugar Reading Challenge as well this year? If you did we have any of the books that matched up for any of the prompts? If you would like to leave a comment but you can't think of anything that you would like to say, then just leave me the lollipop emoji. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.